Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome all of you to the lecture Advanced Software Engineering and Technology. Today we will see identifying and storing persistent data. In last lecture, we have discussed about allocating object and subsystem to the nodes. There two subsystem we seen in previous lecture. This routine subsystem and planning subsystem. And these are the different three components: routine subsystem and planning subsystem. In that routine subsystem there are root assistant, location and proxy, trip, segment proxy. These are the components of this routine subsystem. And in planning subsystem, planning, trip, destination, direction, crossing, these are the segment. But sometime some of the segment, some of the part we will take as a proxy in the routine subsystem. For communication subsystem there are two: message and connections. Communication system, the communication system is responsible for transporting object from planning subsystem to routine subsystem. Their communication takes place in routine subsystem and planning subsystem through the communication subsystem. Connection, a connection represents an active link between planning subsystem and routine subsystem. A connection object handle exceptional case association with loss of the network services. And message, a message represents a trip and its related destination, segments, crossing and direction encoded in this. This is the review design model for my trip. This is UML component diagram. This is the symbol of component diagram. This symbol we have to use to design the component diagram. We already discussed this in previous lecture. Now we will start identifying and storing persistent data. Persistent data outline a single executions of the system. Persistent data outline a single executions of the system. For example, at the end of the day, an author save his work into a file on a word processor. We know, suppose you are the author and you have written some notes. As an author you have written some books, some text. At the end of day you have to save this task, save this work in a file. The file can be the file can then be reopened later. Next day you open that file. The word processor need not run for the file to exit. Similarly, the information related to the employee, their employment status and their pack check live in a database management system. Uh, as an author you have to write the some notes, and that should be save at the end of the day and reopen that later in the next day. This is the persistent data. Means a static work, a static data, the data which require daily to you, but that data is the same at every day, means the persistent data. Persistent data means the data which is constant, which is static, will not change day by day, it require again and again. That is the persistent data. The file can then be reopened later. The word processor need not run for the file to exit. Similarly, the information related to the employee, their employment status, and their paychecks, live database management system, all are the persistent data. As a employee related information, payment, their name, their phone number, their age, their addresses, all that information we will store in a file. That data is called as the persistent data. This allow all the programs that operate on employee data to do so consistently. Moreover, storing data in a database enable the system to perform complex query of large data set. Example, the record of several thousands of employee. Suppose we have thousands of employee, their name, their address, their phone number, their age, all that records is the persistent data which require us day by day, their payment, their whole information. Thousands of record we can store in the database. We require their database to store the persistent data. Like this, we have to identify and store persistent data during the software development process. When you will acquire data, when you will elicited information from customer, then we have to identify their persistent data. Persistent data, the data which is static, never change, means my name never change at this college, and again if I leave this college and join another, there is also my name will be the same. Similarly, you are the student of this college, your name is the constant, your name is not change if you change this college, or you are went suppose in some other places, there your name is not change, constant. That is the persistent data. Where and how the data is stored in a system affect system decomposition. The data decomposition affect to the system, means we have to make the some component in the data. In some cases, for example, the for example, in a repository architecture style, a subsystem can be completely dedicated to the store of data. In repository, we have to store the data, complete data. This is dedicated system. If you want to store data, you need a data repository. In that we have to store. That is a separate subsystem. A selection of a specific database management system can also have implications on the overall control strategy and occupancy management. Selection of the specific kind of data from the database management system. There we require some management, concurrency management. Suppose we have a huge data of our college student, but now which student are absent to today's lecture. For finding that, we have to just find the particular class and particular teachers, not required to find whole the students information of our college. There required some concurrency management to exact identifying a exact information for selecting a specific data, selecting specific database management system. For example, in my trip, we decided to store the current trip in a file on a removable disk to allow the recovery of the trip in case in the driver shut off the car before reaching the final destination. Suppose we plan a trip and our car is not reached at a final destination. To find out that information, we find out the hard disk of the current trip information to recover the trip in case where the driver is shut their car, where the driver stopped their car. That information we have to find from the hard disk. From the database management system, we have stored data on the database management system in the file. that we have to find. This is the persistent data identification using a file in the simplest and most efficient solution in this case. Given that the routine subsystem will only store the complete trip to the file before shutdown and load the file and start up routine subsystem. We know there are two subsystems we find in previous lecture. Okay, in that system, routine subsystem, there the all information related to the root assistant is there, and in planning subsystem, which direction we will go on, which where we will plan the which road will be crossed, there all is the in the planning system. But in this system, we have to store the data if the trip is failed to reach exact destination. Identifying and storing persistent data. We are discussing identification first and store the persistent data, means the data which require frequently and not change. How to store that data into the system, we are studying that. In the planning subsystem, however, the trip will be stored in the database. This subsystem can then be used to manage all trip for many drivers as well as the map needed to generate the trips. Using a database for this subsystem allow us to perform complex query on this data. We add the trip my file store system and the map database store subsystem to my trip to reflect this decision and illustrate. There is a figure 6.7 7.6. We will see this figure. You look at this figure. Subsystem decompose of my trip after deciding on the issue of the data stored. Where the data stored, this is the issue. When the trip is failed, during that time we have to create a different component. There are 5 components. First one is the routine subsystem, second one is planning subsystem. In routine subsystem, what is there? In trip file store subsystem, trip file we will store there, where all the trip information will be written in this system. And second one is the communication subsystem. In this communication subsystem, this subsystem will communicate to the planning subsystem. This routine subsystem will communicate to the planning subsystem. And in planning subsystem, there is again another component, that is the map database store subsystem. In file subsystem, trip file store subsystem, the trip file store subsystem is responsible for store the trip in the file on the onboard computer, because this functionality is only used for storing trip when the car shut down. This subsystem only support fast stored and loading of whole trips. When this file will support? When the loading file of whole trip, otherwise it will not. The map database store subsystem, this subsystem will work when the map database store subsystem is responsible for storing map and trip in a database for planning subsystem. The subsystem support multiple concurrent drivers and planning agent. This subsystem will support to multiple driver, multiple planning agent. Here the person, vehicles or the plan trip will be changed with the planning subsystem records. But in the trip file store subsystem is responsible for store the trip in a file on board computer, because this is functionality is only used for storing trip when the car is shut down. When the car is not working, suppose there is failure in the trip, we have started from this destination our trip to this destination, and we fail at to reach here, our car is fail, then this record will be stored in this planning subsystem at trip file stored subsystem. There will be one file, new file will be created, and there will be stored record some reasons and why this file is stored. Like this we have to create our software and our UML diagram, UML component diagram. This is UML component diagram. Similar type of component diagram you have to design in the practical, as well as you have to write this into the your practical journal. Now identifying persistent object. This is identifying persistent data. Okay. Now we have to identify the particular object, not whole data. How we'll find the particular object? The first we identify which data must be persistent. First we have to find which data must be persistent. Persistent data, continuous data which require that data is not changed, that is the static data, but it required frequently, it required continuous to us, that is persistent data. Okay, but now we want to find out the object, persistent object, the entity, object identified during the analysis are obvious candidate for persistent. In my trip, the trips and their related classes, crossing, destination, planning services, and segments must be stored. Note that not all entity object must be persistent. For example, location and the direction are constantly recommended as the car move. Therefore, we can say these are the persistent object. Location and direction. If you are driving a car or vehicle, you need the directions, exact directions we required, and exact locations you require. To reach particular location, you need exact directions. So we can say these are the persistent objects. During the crossing, destination, planning services, and there are other segments, but all segments are not entity of a persistent object. The persistent object are not limited to entity object. This is not just limited to the entity object. This is beyond that entity object. However, in a multiple user system, information related to user, example driver, is a persistent. Driver is the object, and this is the persistent object. Okay, as well as some attributes of the boundary object. Sometimes there are the boundary objects not from the planning subsystem and not from the routine subsystem. Suppose this is the joint like message connection object. This is the boundary object, connection in between this and this. Message object will be the boundary object. Example, window position, user interface performance, state of long running control object. These are the boundary object. In general, we can identify persistent object by examining all the classes that must be server system shutdown, either in case of a control shutdown or unexpected crash. These are the persistent object. The system will then restore these long live objects by retrieving their attributes from storage during the system initialization or on demand as a persistent object are needed. Now, if you have any doubt regarding persistent object, please ask. Persistent data and persistent object. Persistent data means the whole information which is not changed day by day. It require daily, means persistent data. Okay. Object, which are the object participated day by day, means constant objects require, that is the persistent object. Example driver, example location, example direction in the trip. Suppose trip is our project, we are designing software for trip. Then there we identify the location, one of the object. We will identify their driver as an object. We will identify their location, driver, and do you have any question? Do you have any question on identifying persistent object? In this project we just take an example of driver, location, and direction. Now next one is selecting a storage management strategy. Once all persistent objects are identified, we need to decide how these objects should be stored. Okay, now we identified data, persistent data, we identified persistent object, then we require to store these object. For that we require storage management strategy. The decision for storage management is more complex and is usually dedicated by non-functional requirement. This is complex, but it is non-functional requirement. This is not functional requirement. This is not functional requirement. This is non-functional requirement. Should the object be retrieved quickly? Because why? Our data should be stored quickly and retrieved quickly. Must be system perform complex query to retrieve this object. Do object require a lot of memory or the disk space? In general, there are currently 3 options for store management. There are 3 options. First one, flat files. Files are the storage abstraction provided by operating system. In operating system we can store the file. In file we can store the record. This is first option. The application store its data as a sequence of bytes and define how and when data should be retrieved. The file abstraction is relatively low level and enables the application to perform a variety of size and speed optimization. File, however, require the application to take care of many issues such as current access and loss of the data in case of a system crash. In case of system crash, our data will be stored into the operating system in the file. And another type of a storage management strategy is relational database management. In this, a relational database management provides data abstraction at a higher level than a flat file. In flat file we will store data directly in lower level, but in relational database management we will store the data in the higher level, at the top level of the operating system. Data are stored in a table. We will store the data in the table and create their relationship with predefined type is called as schema. For that table we can say the schema means table name like student and their name, age, roll number. Like this we can create the table schema for relational database management system. Each column in the table represent an attributes. Each row represent data items. as a tuple of attributes value. Several tuples in a different table are used to represent the attributes to the individual object. Example 1 is the serial number and name and age. All that information will be stored into the tuples. Mapping complex object model to a relational schema is challenging. Specialized methods such as provide a systematic way of performing this mapping by Blah and Primerlini. In 1998, they given this method to store the data, complex data in the relational database management system. Relational databases also provide services for concurrency management, access control, and crash recovery. Therefore, this is the famous, this is widely used because concurrency management is there, control access is there, we can provide security to the database as well as crash recovery. If data is crashed, data is corrupted from the system, we can recover the data with the help of relational management system. Relational database have been used for a while and are a mature technology. In this relational database, there it is widely used as well as it is use a mature technology, although the scalable and ideal for the large data set. In large data set we can store scalable data, we can store in this technology, as well as they are relatively slow for a small data set and for unstructured data. Example, image. For image, this is the slow. For natural language processing, natural language text, this relational database is slow. This is slow for small size of the data sets. And third one is the object oriented database management strategy. There are three: flat file, second one is relational, and third one is object oriented database. An object oriented database provide services similar to the relational database. Unlike relational database, it is store data as an object and associations. In addition to providing a higher level of abstraction and thus reduce the need to translate between object and store entities, the object-oriented database provide developers with hierarchical and abstract data types. In these, the hierarchical data we can store as well as abstract data types we can store like this. We can create the object and that can be retrieved hierarchical data. If our data is in this side, then we will just reach and find this. We will leave this side, so this is easy to faster. This is easy to access. The system is faster. The object oriented database significantly reduce the time for the initializing the development of the storage subsystem. However, they are slower than the relational database for typical query and more difficult to tune. This is more difficult to tune and for query processing, and this is easy and slower to distribute the task. This system will be given to a particular employee, this will be given to particular employee, this will be given to particular employee for development purpose, so it is easy to use development purpose. Figure 7.7 summarize trade-off when selecting a storage management system. Note that within a complex system, hybrid solution, mixing flat files, and database management system can be used for different set of persistent object. There is the hybrid files. We mix all these solution: flat file, relational data, object oriented, database management, all these, and this is given in chapter 10, mapping mode to code. We examine how persistent objects are mapped into the database table and flat files. You look at the figure 7.7, trade-off between file and database for store management. This trade-off between fat files, relational database and object-oriented database. When should you choose fat files? Voluminous data means data is in a image format. There is a huge data, not there is a small set of data. Then we have to use this database management storage. Temporary data. For temporary data, core files, suppose there, low information destination density, low information density, archival file or history logs. When should you choose a relational or an object oriented database? This is these three for the flat files. Okay, and when we have to use for relational database or object oriented database? For concurrent access, we require concrete access at a finger level for of detail information we require on top. Then we have to use multiple platform or applications for the same database. There our data will be distributed in the various end, like hierarchical data is there, terminals is there for access the data. In that case also we have to use their object oriented database management. When should you choose relational database? A complex query over the attributes, large data set. When we have the large data sets, then we have to use relational database, tabular format. In the tabular format we have to store the data if the data size is huge. When a medium sized data set also we can use there. Irregular association among the objects, suppose there is not regular association, in that case also we have to use the relational database. Providing access control. Do you have any question regarding this store management strategy? Storage management strategy. Data storage management strategy. There are three ways: flat file, relational and object oriented database. There are three strategies. Do you have any question? Okay. Then providing access control. In multiple user system, different actors have access to different functionality and data. Like suppose ATM machine. We know in ATM machine there the money is stored, but for access that money we need ATM machines, and our account should be there in that bank or particular bank, and also there should be some balance in our account so that we will be able to withdraw the money. Okay, we have that access, but bank manager having different access. He can store the amount, he can deposit, he can open the machine, he can count the balance in the machine, he can perform some operation in the machine, because there is the different access of the same machine. we are also user of that machine, and the bank manager is also user of that machine, but the function of the two these actors are different. This is the bank manager having different, and we as a withdrawer having different options. So there are some controls to accessing this control. A multiple user system, different actors having different access according to the functionality and data. For example, an everyday actor may only access the data it creates. Whenever system administrator actor may have unlimited access to the system data and to other users data. As a user of computer, we have just access of only the data or day by day data, but admin can handle our data also. He can find how much computers are there in the network, and from that which are the computers by which user using to access which type of information. All that can be accessed by the administrator because of the control access. During the analysis, we model these distinctions by associating different use cases to different actors. During the system design, we model access by determining which objects are shared among the actors and by defining how actors can control access depending on the security requirement of the system. We also define how actors are authenticate to the system. Suppose you want to use the computer in our lab, there is not that much strong security. Anybody can tell you directly username and password of the system. But suppose there are ATM machines situated at our nearest location. If you went there to access that, you need ATM machine, and you need ATM card and the password pin for figure pin number to access that machine. Then and then you will be accessed. Why? Because there is the strong security, because this is related to the directly money, and our computer are somewhat less secure than that. We not need that much authentication as bank require, because you are the student and there are multiple students of same computer users. There we should not need that much authentication. Depending on the security requirement of the system, we also define how the actor are authenticated to the system. That's how actor prove to the system who they are, and how selected data in the system should be encrypted. There is one table revision to the design model stemming from the decision to authenticate drivers and encrypt communication traffic. The text added to the model is in italics. There are communication subsystem, planning subsystem, and driver. Same example we have taken for the trip, and similar type of example we will see in this table. Communication subsystem. The communication subsystem is responsible for transporting trip from the planning subsystem to the routine subsystem. The communication subsystem uses the driver association with the trip being transported from selected a key and encrypted the communication traffic. We seen this communication subsystem, routine subsystem, and planning subsystem, and communication subsystem. But there is the file here at the communication subsystem, of which file there the transportation data is stored in the encrypted format that is only understand to the communication planning subsystem and the routine subsystem. The planning subsystem is responsible for constructing a trip connections, sequence of destinations. This will create connections, sequence of destination. The planning subsystem is also responsible for responding the replanned request from the routine subsystem. Prior to the processing any requires, the planning subsystem authenticate the drivers from the routine subsystem. The authenticated driver is used to determine which trips can be sent to the corresponding routine subsystem. All is are in the planning communication subsystem. In the communication subsystem, driver. A driver represent an authenticated users. Driver is an authenticated user. It is used by the communication subsystem. This is used by communication subsystem to remember key associated with a user and the planning subsystem association trip with the user. In planning subsystem and authenticate subsystem, there is a key. Through this key, we can create the association associated by the key to authenticate the driver. The driver is in our trips driver. This is the access control. Providing access control. How we have to provide the access control to the system. First, define access control for a multiple user system in a usually more complex than in the MyTrip. In general, we need to define for each actor which operate they can access on each shared object. For example, a bank teller may post credit and debit up to a predefined amount. Bank teller post credit and debit predefined. If the transaction exceeded the predefined amount, a manager must approve the transaction. Manager can examine the branch statistic but cannot access the statistic of the other branches. Manager has only their own branch statistic, not other. And analyst can access information across all the branches of the corporation but cannot post transactions on individuals' account. We model access on the classes which an access matrix. In access matrix, we have modeled the classes. User can access amount from their account only, as well as bank manager can operate the account and provide the credit and debit report to the actor on the same machine, but he can only handle the all users of the same branch, not other branch. But there is the analyst can handle all the branches, how much branches are there and how much managers are there, and they are crediting and debiting the amounts. All this can be handled by the analyst, but he cannot post the credit and debit on direct individual's account. These are the access control given at the bank by the software developer. Similar kind of access control we have to provide to the system which we will be designing. The row of the matrix represent the actors of the system. The column represent the classes whose access we control. The entity, class and actors are the entity in the access matrix is called as access right and list the operation. Example, post small debit, post large debit. examine global states that can be executed on the instances of the classes by the actor. Table 7.2 describe the access matrix of our bank. We can represent the access matrix using one of the three different approaches: global access table, access control list, and capabilities. You see this table, a global access. What is global access table? Represent the explicitly every cell in the matrix as actor, classes, operation, tuple. Determine if an actor has access to a specific object. Require looking up the corresponding tuple. If no such tuple is found, access is denied. Means our password is not matched with the system, then our access will be denied by the ATM machine. If you put 3 times wrong password in the machine, then system will not access to you, it will be denied for 1 day. An access control list association, a list of actor operation pairs which each classes to be accessed. Empty cells are discarded. Every time an object is accessed, its access list is checked for a corresponding actors and operations. For example, an access control list is a guest list for a party. A butler checks the arriving guest by the comparing their names against the name of the guest list. If there is match, the guest can enter, otherwise it turn away. It will not access. A capability. A capability association, a class operations pair with an actor. Capability classes and operations. A capability allow an actor access to an object of the classes described in the capability, and deny a capability is equivalent to denying access. If it is not in the database, then the capability will be denied. An example of capability is an individual card for a party. In this case, the butler check if the arriving guest hold a invitation of the party. If the invitation is valid, the guests are admitted. Otherwise, they are turned away. No other check are necessary if card is not there with the user. The representation of the access matrix is also performance issues. Global access table require a lot of space. Access control list make it faster to answer the questions. Who has access this object? Whereas the capability list make it faster to the answer the question which object has this actor access to. These three are comparatively access control. Each row in the global access matrix represent a different access view of the classes list in the column. All of these access views should be consistent. Usually, however, the access view are implemented by defining a subclasses for each different type of access actor operations tuples. For example, in our bank system, we would implement an account view by teller and account view by manager classes as a subclasses of the account. Only the appropriate classes are available to the corresponding actor. For example, the analyst client software would not include an account classes because the analyst has no access to any operation in these classes. This reduces the risk that an error in the system result in possibility of authorized access. control flow. In next lecture we will see designing the global control flow. There are three options to providing access control. One is capability, then access control and global access. And in next we will see the global access in detail. If you have any doubt, any question on this access control, providing access control and identifying objects, storage management strategy and data identifying persistent data. Do you have any question regarding these 3-4 terms? Identifying storage persistent data, identifying object, selecting storage management strategy. There are 3 type of storage management strategy: flat file, relational data and object oriented database. Do you have any question regarding these terms? Yes, you can ask within 2 minutes. Do you have any question? On access control, providing access control? If not, we will stop here. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye. You can join another lecture.